family. Here we are, one human family. To the moon, one human family. On to Mars, one human family. Asteroids, one human family. Jupiter, one human family. Saturn's rings, one human family. Uranus, one human family. Neptune, one human family. Kuiper Belt, Pluto, one human family. Planet 9, one human family. Oort Cloud, one human family. Cha 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 cha. Here we come, one human family. Here we come, one human family. Here we are, one human family. To the moon, one human family. On to Mars, one human family. Solar system, one human family. Back to Earth, one human family. Come see you, one human family. Say hi to me, one human family. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Yeah, I'm an astronaut teacher, not a singer. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Is this thing on? Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Mongo, pow. How you like me now? Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Mike Mongo's Astronaut Adventures. It is a miraculous Monday, don't you think? I believe it is. You know what? I hope y'all had a great weekend. I hope y'all had a terrific time doing something that you love. Maybe drawing. I hope you drew something that you really love. I hope you drew something brand new. You know, if we're traveling through space, it takes, right now, if we left Earth, and like there's a very particular time to do this thing I'm about to explain. But if you left Earth and we're headed to Mars, we had a plan, it's gonna take us at least 8 months to get there. And there's a lot of great science that we're gonna get to do in between here and Mars. But theoretically, there's only gonna be a few people on that small spaceship. I'm gonna argue that in a second. But for the sake of argument, whatever that means, let's say there's only a few people on this spaceship and you got 8 months together. Are you telling me that you're not gonna be drawing cool stuff like space cats, space unicorns, space horses, space castles, space Minecraft, space Fortnite? Why wouldn't you? What would you do with all that time, 8 months? 8 months in space, so you better practice your drawing. You ever draw the sky? How about that? I mean, I think that's a really interesting challenge to draw the sky. I think that, one second. I think there's something on my glasses. Bear with me. Testing. 1, 2, 3, is this thing on? I'm back. Look, cleaning. The proof is in the pudding. Whatever that means. All these important sayings that we hear all the time. Excuse me. You know, a lot of times when I do that, I get a little tissue right here, and then I'm walking around with tissue on my face. So if there's any tissue on my face, you'll let me know, right? Right? Any tissue on my face? So, yeah, you're gonna, drawing the sky. Drawing things, think about, imagine drawing things that are not, how do we draw love? We can draw expressions of love. How do we draw air? We can draw depictions of air. That's the way the air moves. And when we draw expressions of love, we can, like give a hug or a kiss, or this feeling right here. Oh, my Google. Is it that kind of day, really? It must be Monday. I knew there was something missing. Part of the thing is I got something really important to talk with you about today. And it came up, remember last week we did that, we did a full week of how to be an astronaut. Last week was how to be an astronaut. Because that's the question you all send me. You all. That's the question you send me all the time. How to be an astronaut. And so we answered 3 episodes, how to be an astronaut. And we talked about some really important stuff, like the SMART formula. Practice skills, develop skills. Practice manners, develop manners. Take action, like send letters to the people that you are interested in working with. Handwritten letters in the mail. Resolve, be resolute, determined. Don't let anything sway you from your path. And be a great team player. Small one team. SMART, skills, manners, actions, resolution, and team. So that was the SMART formula. That's how to be an astronaut. So we talked about that, and then we started talking about how. And then yesterday, what's it? Oh my gosh, you're not even going to believe what today is. It only feels like Monday. I believe it is in fact Wednesday. Quarantine, what have you done to me? So this is I'm in beautiful downtown Sherman Oaks, Los Angeles, California, and we have just begun quarantine all over again. So spaceship mission training has begun. And one of the things, I'm going to get a calendar. I think that's a great idea. Let's get a calendar. Let's get a calendar up in here. I know we keep all that information on our devices, like our phones and our watches. Even my watch has a little thing on it. Let's see. Yep, Wednesday. Can you see it? See the W-E at the top in the middle? Wednesday. So, even my watch has a little reminder. And nonetheless, the days can just slip on by, especially when we're doing something as important as this, because we're in the zone. When we're talking about practicing the SMART formula and how to be an astronaut, and then we were talking about how on Monday we went from how to be an astronaut to how to be a human being. And love and compassion are definitely some of the things. Sharing ideas is another one of those things that makes us a human being. These are things that make us distinct. Being able to realize that I'm thinking like I can think of a triangle, and you think of a triangle, and I think of a triangle, and you think of a triangle, and I think of a triangle, and you think of a triangle. Wiggle, 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 wiggly worm. So when you think of a triangle and I think of a triangle, are we thinking of the same triangle? I mean, I'm seeing a triangle in my head, and so are you seeing a triangle in your head? Now, I know for a fact that wolves and birds and monkeys and apes, and like all these creatures, maybe monkeys and apes, but almost all these other creatures can't think of a triangle, and they certainly can't share to someone else that they're thinking of a triangle. It's possible that an ape could figure out how to think of a triangle and then communicate it to another ape that is thinking of a triangle. And I know this because we have worked with apes to learn and teach sign language, learn to communicate with one another. So that's a very smart species of creature. That's that's a creature we really get to think about. Isn't it weird that we've hunted apes when apes are that smart? Same thing with dolphins. Dolphins have their own names. How can we hunt and pen up dolphins and whales? That doesn't make any sense. They're that smart. It'd be like somebody doing that with us, which is not a good idea, because there's always these science fiction stories about aliens or extraterrestrials coming and capturing human beings and making them into pets. That kind of story, which I don't really get into. I did when I was you. I used to like that kind of science fiction. Now I like the kind of science fiction which kind of is exciting. I like exciting, but I like possibilities and opportunities. Like when we went from how to be an astronaut to how to be a human being and talked about what differentiates us and what distinguishes us and what makes us human beings, when we did that, and then this weekend, it really dawned on me that why should space just be for a few people? Space has to be for everybody. And I really figured out how to do it. We figured it out together. That is so awesome. We figured it out right here, how to make space for everybody. Like Krista McCauliffe, who was on the space shuttle, the Columbia, the Challenger rather, and when it exploded, and she was the astronaut teacher who we lost to the explosion, and her contribution to us, even though we lost her, is that space is for everybody. That's what she said as an astronaut, as a teacher astronaut. I'm an astronaut teacher. She said space is for everybody. And that's the best idea. And it's such a great idea, and it seems so simple that here's the interesting thing. We overlooked the real genuine value of what it means. Space is for everybody. It doesn't just mean it's possible for everybody. Space is for everybody means that everybody gets to go. It's like a school bus. It's like an airplane. Really, there's 7.3 billion people on the planet Earth right now, and there's no reason that everybody couldn't fly on an airplane, not all at once, but at least experience what it's like to fly on an airplane if we decided as a civilization that that's what we wanted to do. And the same thing is true of space. Not everybody flies on an airplane, but nowadays most people do, or have. Before the quarantine, for sure. I used to fly all the time, and now I don't. And so, they get tissue fuzz on my lip again. You guys, come on, you tell me, right? You tell me. Is there tissue fuzz on my upper lip? You would tell me, right? So, space is for everybody. When Krista McCauliffe said that, I think that she meant that we thought she meant that it should be an opportunity for everybody, but maybe she meant, and I like this idea, that you get to go to space and I get to go to space and your friend gets to go to space and your sister gets to go to space and your brother gets to go to space and your cousin gets to go to space and your nephew gets to go to space and your abuela and your abuela get to go to space and your tío and your tía and your aunt and your uncle and your neighbors and anybody who wants to go to space gets to go to space. That is the plan. And we're making that plan right here from Mike Mongo's Astronaut Adventures. You, me, all our audience, everybody who's watching and realizing this. Space has to be for everybody. We all get to have the perspective of looking down from space back at Earth and seeing Earth for what it is. This precious, wonderful, amazing place where all the stories that have ever taken place happened. We look back on Earth. We're up in space and we look back and we look down and we see Earth. And this is called the overview effect by author Frank White. He came up with it. He got it right. He and I are having an email conversation right now. And you look back, you're in space. So imagine this. You're in space and you look back. Let's pretend that this is the Earth. This right here. Okay? It's a little flat. It's a little small. It's a little pale, but we're going to say for the sake of argument that that's the Earth, okay? So, let's see. Okay, so there's the Earth. I'm in space. You're in space. We're in space. So we look back and there's the Earth. All the stories that have ever taken place, every story that has ever taken place happened right there, right here, right here. Let's pretend this is Earth. Every story, every person, every life that has ever lived, every piece of history, every metaphor, when we say something is like something else, they all came from here. Let's say that this is planet Earth. And we're in space and we're looking at it through a funny window that makes it look squished and made out of macrame. Like that is the perspective that each of us gets to have, that we get to look back and see Earth for what it is. It is home. It is home to what makes us human beings. And it is our connection. Like when we look back on Earth, we see all that, like that's where all the dolphins live. That's where all the birds live. That's where all the lions and elephants and all the bacteria that we know as well. You know, like there's bacteria that's alive inside of us. We have like millions and millions of pieces of bacteria inside of us. Probably gazillions. I'll have to look it up. I think there's an actual number. And so that is why everybody gets to go to space. So let's recap. What is the importance of everybody going to space? Because it's fun, right? Like that's important. Everybody should get to climb a tree if they can, if they want to. And here's an interesting thing. Should people who don't have legs get to go to space? Yes. Should people who don't have hearing get to go to space? Yes. Should people who don't have sight get to go to space? Yes. Should people who are very, very skinny get to go to space? Yes. Should people who have more body weight, we like to say overweight. Are they overweight if that's the size they're supposed to be? I don't know. So should skinny people get to go to space? Yes. Should fat people get to go to space? Yes. Should light-skinned people get to go to space? Yes. Should dark-skinned people get to go to space? Yes. Should people who practice this religion get to go to space? Yes. Should people who practice that religion get to go to space? Yes. Should people who have a lot of money in their pocket get to go to space? Yes. Should people who have no money in their pocket get to go to space? Yes. Why not? Like, what are we working for as a society, as a civilization, not as a society, as a civilization, as humankind changing into space kind? What are we working for? Are we working just to get richer or just work? That's not exciting. That doesn't, what? How many times has a grown-up walked in on you and said, what are you doing? What are you doing? Well, what if human beings had a grown-up? What if Earth had a grown-up show up, or Earth grown-up? Like a grown-up to our species, and says, what are you doing over there, species? And what would we say? We're over here making money. Like, that's our contribution to the universe, is to make money? No. Our contribution to the universe is art, music, love, laughter, stories. That's what we're bringing to space. And when we all get to go to space, space is for everybody, then we get to expand the stories that we have. Imagine the stories we get to have when all of us get to go to space and come back down to Earth and make it the best place it can be. Because when we go up to space and we see Earth for what it is, our home, then it'll change our perspective. That's our outlook, how we see things. And we change our outlook, we change who we are. We change how we communicate how we are. We change the story about who we are. Like if you were going to space and you had to, and there were extraterrestrials, let's say that there's another species on the planet, in the universe. I presume there is. We don't know that there is. We haven't seen any. But let's say, and you get to go and represent human beings to another species of human beings in another world, somewhere else. And maybe they look like us and maybe they don't. It doesn't matter. But they understand us, and you are the person who represents us. What are you going to tell them about us? What are you going to tell them that we're doing? Like, if we're making space for everybody, that's a doing. So as a civilized, like, what if you went and represented us to this other species of human beings on another world and said, and whether they look like us or not, maybe they look like rocks, maybe they look like fish, I don't know, it doesn't matter, but they understand us. They understand you because you're representing us. And if you went and explained that we, as a civilization, as a species, are creating the opportunity for all of us to go to space, to see who we are and how we are, to see how we relate to the whole universe, our relationship to the universe is like this is some big ideas, right? Do grown-ups talk to you about this stuff? My Google, I hope so. I know you talk about it, because in the before, when I used to travel, I used to have these conversations with you, and you're really smart. And so when we're doing these things, we're talking about who we are and what we are. That's really why we would go to space. Of course it's fun, but fun gets boring if you don't have a purpose. Like, eventually fun wears thin if you don't have a purpose. Even when you're playing tag and you're playing hide and go seek and you're playing the fun game, kickball and those things. Even when you're playing cricket, you're playing soccer, you're playing football. Eventually you get hungry. And then you gotta get some food. Suddenly you are purpose driven. It was fun playing football. It was fun playing cricket. It was fun playing soccer. It was fun running. It was fun swimming. It was fun working on the computer. Whatever thing that you're doing, eventually you get hungry and you become purpose driven. Your purpose becomes food. Now, as we grow up, that purpose changes. So that hunger inside of us is something, it's bigger than food that we want. As grown-ups, when you become a grown-up, what you'll see is that that hunger becomes like, why am I here? What am I doing? Why are we here? What are we doing? What are we leaving behind for the next generation, for the next version of you? Yo. Buck. So that hunger, like if you're playing a sport or you're playing a game and you get hungry and you go get food, when we grow up, that kind of changes so that we're living our lives and we're being responsible and we're working and we're living and we have a apartment or a house and a family and everything. And we're like, what is our purpose? Is having children our purpose? Is having a family a purpose? So then we want to make the world a better place for them, right? I mean, it sounds obvious to me. And then we get to, and like, let's say that you were on another world communicating to another species of humans what our purpose is. What would you say? I mean, wow. Sometimes people message me during the show and let me know, hey, they're something, which I think is very sweet. Yeah, this is a new idea. I have never heard anyone say space is for everybody. Not this way. And I want you to write it down. I want you to write down this idea, space is for everybody. I want you to start writing it down when you sign your name. I want you to start writing it down on artwork. I want to see this. I want to see this message. Space is for everybody. Look, I even wrote it in cursive. It was fun writing this, by the way. I love these colors. Some blue, some purple, some orange, some yellow. Love it. Write it down. Space is for everybody. We're gonna get this message out there. Like, and you know where this came from? This came because we had a conversation last week about how to be an astronaut, which led to Monday's conversation about how to be a human being. And then over the weekend, in thinking between how to be an astronaut and how to be a human being, I've started to think, wait, why is space only for a few people? Why is space only for people who have a lot of money? That's like, we can't grade people by how much money they have. That's like grading people on where they're born. We don't decide on where we're born. We get to, as human beings, especially as grown-ups, like I'm encouraging you to think of like this when you get to be me. The people who are grown-ups like me, we get to realize, oh, wait. We can't gauge people by where they're born. Just because a person is born in one place and not in another or something like that shouldn't determine on whether a person gets to go to space. No way. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's all the same materials and resources. It's all from Earth. We all share this. Everybody who's alive shares this birthright. Speaking of which, I think that the moon is everybody's. Everybody who's alive is who the moon belongs to. Nobody gets to go up and claim the moon. No, we got to change these things. You get to. And we're going to start right here on Mike Mongo's Astronaut Adventures. And I'm honored to have you on our team to make sure that space is for everybody. And you know what? Here's this idea. Remember this from Key West, the Key West philosophy? All people are created equal members of one human family. Well, that's this. For sure. Yeah, space is for everybody, not Google. Now that we got that out of the way, and now that we got that in the way, if that's what we want to call it, I want to try something. Remember that space cat I was drawing? I haven't drawn in a couple days. Let's see what happened. I'm going to draw it on this side of the board this time. Let's see if I remember how to draw a space cat. So as I recall, there was this like, are you with me? You with me? We're drawing a space cat. My son Raphael taught me how to do this. Well, he drew a cat robot, and so I started to draw a cat robot, and then I started to draw a space cat. So then I remember the nose is kind of like this, and I remember that this part right here happens, and then I remember this part right here, and the same over here. These are the cheeks, and then I remember this big eyebrow thing. And then I remember this shape of this eye right here. And then I remember the shape of the pupil. That's this part right here. It's kind of like half a lemon seed. Cat's got weird eyes. And then I remember this part right here. Same deal. And then a half a lemon seed right here. When you do fills, by the way, when you fill in the black part, when you do any fills, I try to keep my lines looking the same, like right and left or whichever way, so that it doesn't look messy. When you fill in something like I'm filling in the nostril right now, these are important. These things we call fills. All right, and then I remember that there was this there's this little mouth right here. How did that little mouth happen? How did the mouth happen? But I also remember this part right here. This is a chin. And then up here, my favorite. Who does not like to draw cat ears? That's a funny cat ear. Up here again, cat ear, and then right here, I don't know if you can see this, like right here above the head, you make the head round and you do it in between the ears. You don't make the lines of the bottom of the ears connect. And then there was some hair on the inside on both sides of the ear. I remember this. And then there was like hair poking up right here. Again, hair on both sides of the ear. So this ear is a little tilted. We're gonna get a little tilt. It's gotta be careful when you draw these lines, because if at the end of it a little bump can show up. And then there was these creases up here at the top of the head. And it doesn't really look like a cat to me. That's just from memory. Oh yeah, you know what's missing? That's what's missing. Okay, getting there something. Oh yeah, and then there was some shading right here, and also right here. Some like a little dark spot right here. And this is darker up here too. Cool. Okay, that's more cat-like. This ear right here, I think it's kind of flipped over. I've never seen a cat with a flipped over ear, but okay. Space cat. Every time you draw something, it's called repetition. Can you see this? R-E-P, repit. Oh my gosh, I always get this. Ugh. You think I'm gonna misspell a word in front of you? No way, not when I have Google right at my disposal. And certain words elude me, like I should know how to spell repetition, like no problem. But it was the E. It was the E, I was right. But I don't want to mislead you. Repetition. That means we repeat it. So when I draw it once and I draw it again, I've really got to figure out how to make Space Cat smile. Because Space Cat is actually happy, and Space Cat, that doesn't even look like an ear, that looks like a horn. Also this one too, it looks more like a horn. So I got to work on that. I'm going to work on that details. Also, this part right here, I think that this is a little too skinny. The head's a little rounder. This looks like a skull on a brain. Space Cat, you're looking very spacey today. Very extraterrestrial. Extraterrestrial means from another world. It also kind of looks like a wild cat. It also kind of looks like a crazy cat. So every time we draw something, we repeat and we get better at it every single time. The more we draw it, this is called repetition. I don't want it to look the same every time. That's called uniformity. Repetition is repeating. And repeat, if this is the word repeat, I would have an A right here. But repetition, you just draw it over and you draw it again and you draw it again. And it's like the same reason I say space is for everybody, you write it down. And that's so that we constantly have that idea. That is just how I was talking to you about, remember I was talking to you about how, hey, did I lose you? Did I lose you? I didn't? How wonderful is that? Remember when I was talking about the formula that I want every one of us to keep in our heads always? And that formula is, how am I helping? Just keep it around. And so if you find yourself in a situation and you're not sure what to do, go to that idea. How am I helping? Got it? It's a cool tool. Think of how am I helping as an idea. Think of it like a, what are those called? Those Swiss Army knives. Think of it as a Swiss Army knife so that you have it and you can use it in different situations for different things. So if you're trying to make somebody happy, if you're working to make somebody happy, like your parents or your guardian or your teacher or your mentor, how am I helping? So how am I helping? Well, for me, like if you're helping your mentor, you would be writing down spaces for everybody. You would be remembering how am I helping. You would also be, this is important. You'd be sending me questions. Oh, how am I helping? Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribing is helping. Go to on YouTube, subscribe. At youtube.com/Mike Mongo. Yeah, go to and hit that subscribe. That helps me. Grown-ups can help. Grown-ups can go and buy me a tea. They can go to MikeMongo.com and click on buy Mike a tea. Grown-ups help all the time. That helps buy these supplies that we use on this show. That's how am I helping? How am I helping? What about if you have what if you see a person who's like a senior citizen? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Is this thing on? What if you see a senior citizen crossing the street and they need a hand? What if you see somebody who their hands are full and the door needs to be opened? That kind of helping. How am I helping? When you see a situation you don't know what to do, the very first thing I want you to think is, how am I helping? So let's think. Let's say we're being attacked by zombies. Let's go with that. Since there's no such thing as zombies, this is a good one. It's a good fallback because we can use it and we don't have to worry about it because it just doesn't happen, which is awesome because if it did, it would be a whole different reality and I'm not really interested in that reality. In the same thing, I'm not really interested in UFOs and aliens and stuff like that. I mean, I guess some people really like being scared. I'm not into it. I'm more into what an amazing place this universe is. So, in our metaphor, which is a way of describing something, zombies are attacking. And they're trying to get through the door. And I'm holding the door. And your first thought is, what should I do? But your first thought, I'm asking you to use, if it's not your first thought, think of it as your second thought. How am I helping? So if you throw your body against the door and help hold the door so that I can lock it so those zombies are held outside, boom, how am I helping? Just like that. So simple. So simple. And it's even simpler than that because usually zombies are not attacking. And by usually, I mean never. And usually people do need a hand carrying stuff to the car or to the house or chores being done or taking out the garbage. How am I helping? Simple thing. Today, you go out there and you look around. This morning before we got here, I swept the floor clean. I love doing that for you. I do it for me. I mean, like, this is Spaceship Studio, so it gets to look nice. But the thing is, I do it because I want the studio to look appropriate for you. I mean, you're my guest here. I am honored to have you here. So doing a little cleanup is my pleasure. Making sure that the board is clean and put together before you get here. How am I helping? That's how I'm helping. For sure. And you can do it too. So when you're at home and you're not, whenever the B word shows up, remember the B word? The B word, what's the B word stand for? The B word stands for bored. Remember bored? When people say that they're bored, we don't do the B word. When you feel the B word, try and practice the C word, which is creativity. And how am I helping in a moment when you're feeling the B word and want to move to the C word, which is creativity? How am I helping is a great one, because what is the resistance? That's a reluctance. That's when we're not inclined to do something. That's when we don't want to do something. Like, I don't want to help. What is that from? I know a way around that, by the way. I know a way around that. So when we find that resistance, usually that resistance is the solution. So when you feel like, I don't want to help, bring that in really close to you. Start thinking about it. Why does that feeling, I don't want to help? Let's look at it close. Because a lot of times the problem or the challenge is the solution. And you're like, wow, I kind of do want to help, actually. Like, there's no reason, I don't know why I didn't feel like I wanted help a minute ago. Now I feel like I want to help. And it just happened because I brought in that feeling that I didn't want to help. I brought it as close to me as I could, and I started to think of it not as the problem, but the solution. It's a funny little trick. You bring in the feeling that you don't want to do, like, I don't want to clean. Oh, what? Raphael, my son, I don't want to take a shower. Do you know what a mystery that is to us as grown-ups? Grown-ups are like, I love to take a shower. Taking a shower is lovely. Nice water. I love water. Get in the water. I feel like a plant when I'm in the shower. And when I'm in the bath, I feel like a person who's rich. I love getting in the bath. And I also, when I was you, pretended I was Aquaman all the time, and that if I didn't get the water on me, that I would perish. That was my game. I always felt like that. I love being in the water. I love being in the ocean. Lakes. Some people are lake people. Are you a lake person? I'm more of an ocean person. And the swimming pool. Doesn't everybody like the swimming pool? And learning how to swim and things like that. So these are ways. Oh, how can I help? Do you know how to swim? Do you have a brother or sister or a friend who doesn't know how to swim? Helping them learn how to swim with grown-up supervision, somebody who can jump in and pull you out of the water if you get stuck. Yeah, that's helping. I love teaching people how to swim. I think or to ride a bike. Both of those are skills you can use. We get to use our whole life. Imagine having a spaceship so big that you could ride a bicycle on it. I mean, wow. I know that people want to ride a bike on the moon. I know that people want to ride a bike on Mars. Going for a bike ride on the moon, wow. There's so much. We'd have to have like a bubble with atmosphere or a special astro bike, because we'd have to have new astronaut suits to allow us to move easier, because it's so cold on the moon. Sometimes it's way too hot. All kinds of different things that you get to think about. Speaking of thinking about something, so this idea of space is for everybody. How do we make that happen? Write it down, spaces for everybody, and think about, how do we make it happen how does humanity, how does civilization make space for everybody a reality? How do we make that happen? That's homework. What are your ideas about making that happen? How do you make space for everybody? How would you suggest that we do it? How do you propose that we make space for everybody? Look, we're changing the future right here. You are the author of the future. That's magnificent, marvelous, merrymaking, mirthful, mind-blowing. You, it's the bat phone. You, a student, are authoring, creating the future. You, a student, are authoring, creating the future. You who I'm talking to right now are authoring and creating the future. You. Wow. That's a mighty ability. Have you ever noticed that you have the ability to author the future? You have the ability to create the future. Wow. 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 That's a lot of responsibility. That's a lot of possibility. That's a lot of opportunity. How are you going to make the future? How are you going to make it? How are you going to create it for us? All of us here are doing it. Especially you. How are you going to make space for everybody? Power, authority, ability, talent, gift, skill. You got it all. So write down spaces for everybody for sure, okay? And remember and think about, how am I helpful? How am I helping? How are you helping your grandmother? How are you helping your mom? Have you called? If you're not at your mom's house, if you're not at your dad, if your dad's at work, if your uncle, if whoever takes care of you is somewhere else and you care about them, have you called to let them know? Have you wrote a note that says, I really care about you. Thank you for all you do. Have you done that yet? It's a great opportunity. I give you permission to do that. In the same way that I give you permission to author the future, in the same way that I give you permission to imagine yourself living, working, and playing in space, and in the same way that I give you permission to surround yourself with allies and accomplices who are going to help you get your goal of getting to space, I give you permission to tell the people who matter to you that you love them. I give you permission to go out on a ledge, go out on a limb, go to the place where you may not even feel comfortable, and say those words, I love you. And that's how we become amazing human beings, the best human beings that the world has to offer. And that's when space will welcome us to space. Space will say, wow, these human beings are something special. They're really worth having. And you get to show us how to do it. And like I always say, lead the way. And then you say back to me, follow me. And then I say, I will. Lead the way. Follow me. I will. Lead the way. Follow me. I will. Got it? How am I helping? Space is for everybody. Space cat. Repetition. Look at all the amazing things we created today. You and me. And now you go out and share these things with all your friends, all the people you care about. You're allowed to share this video. You're allowed to send it to your friends who you think would enjoy it, who you see as people who are authoring the future, who are creating the future. I bet you have people in your life who you see as creating the future. You let them see this video and realize that they have permission to do the exact same thing that you're doing. In fact, we can't do it without them. We're all on this together. We're all on this together. And the thing we're on is planet Earth. And the thing we're doing is making space for everybody as a civilization. And we created that plan right here on Mike Mongo's Astronaut Adventures. I have never heard anyone say that everybody gets to go to space. Well, that's taken care of. Now it's been said. Everybody gets to go to space. New plan. That's what civilization can work on, so that we all get to see Earth for what it is, this amazing, precious place in the middle of the universe somewhere. And even if there's not another soul in the universe besides us, this whole universe has value just because, if only because, of planet Earth, where you are and I am and our family and the people we care about. And if the universe isn't filled with love, then we can go forth and fill it up. That's what human beings are good for. Loving, loving, loving. Just like I love you. Thanks for being here today. Send me a really great message. Send me something special. Draw me a picture. Write down spaces for everybody. Tell me about your plan to make spaces for everybody. Or better yet, go out and do it. Even better than sending it to me is do it. And enroll people. Get people to believe in what you believe in. Making space for everybody. You're a leader. That's why I'm here. Because you're the best. That's it. Have a great Wednesday. And I'll see you on Friday. Keep up the good work. In the words of my people, in the words of our people, spaces for everybody. Pow, pow, pow.